right, everybody, I've got a special treat for you today. I'm going to tell you a story about the most God-like Medal of Honor recipient of all time. I say God-like because what he did was the most Christ-like thing that could ever be done. And when I say Christ-like, what I'm talking about is the intentionality and the purpose of when Jesus Christ went to the cross. He didn't accidentally go to the cross. It wasn't just something that came upon him in the instant when he got arrested. No, he intentionally lived his life for the purpose of going to the cross and dying for the sins of you and all of humanity. Now, what does that have to do with the Congressional Medal of Honor and any Marine, soldier, sailor, or airman out there that has ever received the Medal of Honor? So, the most Christ-like Medal of Honor. Are you ready for this? It's a man by the name of Corporal Jason Dunham. Corporal Dunham was serving in Iraq in April of 2004 in a town called Karabila. And this young Marine, I want to say he's about 21 years old. He's out with his Marines on a foot patrol. And this is basically in the real uprising of the spring of 04, where it really hit the fan around Baghdad, Fallujah, Ramadi, obviously Karabila. And, we were losing guys at a high rate. I was actually recovering at this point in time as I was hit by a hand grenade on April 6th of 04. And that's probably a little bit of why this story means something to me because, I'll get into what happened to Corporal Dunham. So, Corporal Dunham and his men are out on a foot patrol. They are moving to contact. They have another unit out there in the area that's under intense enemy fire, and they're moving on foot to go reinforce those guys. While they're on their way, they see like a convoy of 4 to 6 enemy vehicles headed their way. So Corporal Dunham and his Marines, they flag down these guys. They're pointing their weapons at them. They get these vehicles to stop. And in the midst of doing so, an enemy insurgent jumps out of one of the vehicles and physically attacks Jason Dunham. Corporal Dunham wrestles this Allahu Akbar screaming insurgent to the ground and is trying to incapacitate the insurgent. During that point in time, Corporal Dunham has other Marines around him that are engaged in the situation, looking probably for a point in time in which to either handcuff or shoot this insurgent should the opportunity or the need present itself. The insurgent ends up pulling out a hand grenade, quickly pulling the pin, and lets the thing go. And what Corporal Dunham does is he unsnaps his helmet, places his helmet over the hand grenade, and then puts his body on top of his helmet. The grenade goes off, it explodes, and Corporal Dunham receives the full impact of that deadly device. His other Marines around him put that insurgent down and did what had to be done in that situation. Corporal Dunham is killed in that valiant, courageous action. So what unfolds is an investigation into the circumstances of what went down that day. What were all of the surrounding events of this heroic act of this young Marine? And they discover through talking through the network of Marines Corporal Dunham served with that several days or weeks prior to this event happening, Corporal Dunham is in a room full of Marines, and they're talking about what they would do if a grenade was ever released around their men. And Corporal Dunham said, well, if that ever happened around me, what I would do is I would unsnap my helmet, I'd put my helmet on that grenade, and I would cover it up with my body. And from the story, from the investigation, it was revealed that these Marines said, dude, you don't have time to do that. You won't have the opportunity to get that done. And Corporal Dunham said, well, why don't you time me and we'll see. Someone pulled out a stopwatch. Someone threw a dead grenade on the ground. And Corporal Dunham did what he had to do, unsnapped his helmet, put it on top of the grenade, and covered it with his body. And demonstrated that he actually did have the time necessary to protect his Marines. This is amazing. This is the most godlike, Christ-like Medal of Honor that I have personally found because of the intentionality of Corporal Dunham, the servant leadership, where the servant says, I will go and I will die for my friends, and I intend to die for them if that time ever arises.